Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Good day, viewers. It is my pleasure welcoming you on board to In the Newsroom on Osbc TV. My name is Adebare Jimakide, and we are very sorry for starting the program behind schedule. On the program today, we shall be examining 3 topics. The first one is Senate approves Buhari's 22.7 trillion CBN loan request. The Red Chamber has approved President Buhari's loan request of 22.7 trillion naira for funding projects across sectors of the economy. And next is the federal government releases 1,564 compendium on Buhari's achievement. The federal government has released a 1,564 page compendium focusing the achievement of the present administration from 2019 to this year. The compendium, which came in 2 volumes, was documented by the Ministry of Information and Culture and made available to newsmen in Abuja. And the last topic we shall be deliberating upon is we must not give up on New Nigeria, coming from Shibaju, the Vice President, has urged Nigerians not to give up on New Nigeria, saying that they should continue to love the country. And to examine those topics, I have with me professional colleagues in the studio. Far from my right hand here, Olale Yemi, you are welcome on the program.
It's my pleasure to be here. Good evening, viewers.
And I also have Latif Agbola very close to me here.
Thanks for having me, Adebare. Newsroom is my place. My pleasure being here.
Thank you for coming. Senate approves Buhari's 22.7 loan CBN request. And it's CBN or Buhari's request is still from the same federal government. Must Nigeria borrow to fund the affairs of the nation? Latif.
Well, the number one question we need to ask is for what purpose is this borrowing this time around? How critical is that issue? We need to ask the government and the National Assembly. Then apart from that, you be suspicious of Mr. President and his cabinet member, the timing of this borrowing. You are living in less than a month, so you are still talking about borrowing. That means something is wrong somewhere. When we were in primary school, there was this popular song. Whenever we are to close for the day, Amirele Obaba, Olojo Oni or Amirele Obaba. So that means Amirele money. People will be suspicious of that. Maybe those who are in government, the executive and legislative arm of the government, they want something to be shared among them. So if not, they won't be talking about borrowing few days to the exit of the present government. Honestly, it's not a very palatable thing.
Okay, Wale, what is your take on the decision of the upper chamber to approve that sum of money?
Well, to start with, like Latif said, when government goes borrowing, is not something that is totally out of the way. But the most important thing is to examine what the borrowing is for. And in this case, most people don't really understand what is going on. The federal government is not getting fresh loan. The federal government has written the Senate to approve an expenditure that it has already spent. Because they spend the money, they say, okay, let's get the money through the CBN via ways and means. They've gotten the money, and even by January this year, they even appealed to the Senate to approve it, so that they won't be paying so much interest on the loan. So what they've done is, okay, if you approve, now it will be easy for the federal government to take it to the security market as bonds, so that the amount of money they will pay as interest will be so low. So it's not as if the Buhari administration is saying bring us 22.7 trillion, because it's so clear that what are they going to do with the money in the next 2 or 3 weeks? So they've already let me call the money
Spend the money.
is a money that was appropriated, maybe extra budgetary.
Like a kind of refund.
No, it's an extra budgetary spending.
Yes, additional supplementary.
Supplementary budget. But maybe the timing, because of last year, didn't go well because a lot of opposition members of the National Assembly were opposed to it. Maybe that was why it didn't fly that time around.
Okay.
But now they are now looking at it that the money has already been spent. I think for some of they spent it on the office of the Accountant General. Some of
the request was turned down by the previous National Assembly.
No, by this
current incumbent. Yes, at the same time by this assembly.
Yes. So they spend the money. They are not getting anything fresh. It's like maybe somebody issued a check. He doesn't have money. You know, please step it down. When I have money, I will. You can go and present it. But now the other way around is the government has said, okay, we want to spend so amount of money.
Okay.
They've approached the CBN through the ways and means method, collected the money and spent it.
Some members of the House also kick against that idea that that amount of money should not be released once. At least they should carry out investigation that should be released in bits.
And I think what led to the opposition was that they said, no, let's have the list
of
what the expenditure
of the project, or
how do we want to go about it. But they said, okay, we spend the bulk of the money on power. So, and the office of the Accountant General, then I think one or two things in government.
Okay.
But basically the bulk of the money goes to power sector. The power sector.
All right. What are the implications of this continuous borrowing on the nation and Nigerians?
Well, before we go to the implication, Adebari, let's look at what has been the impact of the money borrowed so far. You recall when this government came, what we learned was that Nigeria had like a 12 point something trillion debt, but today it has gone up to, if I'm not mistaken, over 70.
Yes, close to 70, 69 trillion naira.
You look at it, you'll be surprised. What exactly have we been using? Are we using it we are borrowing to servicing debt, or we are using it to run the government? What exactly are we? Because when you are borrowing, there must be a purpose, and that purpose must be something that will be impactful on the economy and the country at large. But if we are borrowing to settle some big people, then that will be a problem at the end of the day. In fact, some people are saying this, though nobody has been able to prove it beyond reasonable doubt, that there are a lot of atrocities that have been committed by the CBN under MFLA. So that this borrowing is part of the money they will use to cover those atrocities. The money spent, mismanaged by the CBN. So yeah, exactly. And if you look at all this, the conclusion will be that Nigeria is going towards a kind of a economic collapse if care is not taken. Because even the borrowing we are talking about, we've not been able to pay back this, but we are only servicing the debt. That's why the borrowing is increasing by the day. And one other thing is that we need a kind of vibrant National Assembly. National Assembly that will be able to query the executive, to be able to scrutinize the document bring before it. That what exactly are you using this money for? How far have you gone with the money you take the other time? But it's always been a case of party affairs. If you want us to approve it, you give us this percentage of the money. That's how they have been doing it. And the consequence on the economy and the average Nigerian is the fear. Because at the end of the day, the people in government will cause problem, but all Nigerians will have to pay for it. And lastly, Jimakide, on your question, I believe Nigeria is too rich to be borrowing. Nigeria is too rich. It's good to borrow for development, but we are too rich to be borrowing. The issue is that our resources are ending up in the pocket of individuals, those who are not patriotic, to ensure that Nigeria moves. That's the area we need to look at. We are talking about when Muhammadu Buhari came. He came on three promises: economic development, security, and anti-corruption. How far have we gone with anti-corruption today? So and he said this, and I don't know how far this corruption has killed Nigeria. He said if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. That means corruption is killing us. If care is not taken, we will die. God forbid.
All right, Wale, do you think that deliberations on the loan at the Red Chamber should be well scrutinized, deliberated upon before our approval?
I think the National Assembly has done a yeoman job by appointing Senator Gobi, who is the Senate leader, to a committee scrutinize the 22.7 trillion naira loan. And
come up with that report.
But they were, since that January, they've not been able to present the report until last Wednesday.
Okay.
So it was when the Senate got the report and look at it, and they could verify that after the committee has related with all the government parasitic agencies, they were able to verify it that okay, they've gotten the money, spend it on those critical areas of power and some other things in the External Affairs Ministry, the Office of Accountant General, and so forth and so forth. So I think the issue really is, it is not too tidy for government to, because the process is clear. You do the budget, you go to the National Assembly, get the approval. There's a limit to which, maybe before the approval of the budget, they say this benchmark, the business of government cannot be stagnated because there's no fund. So they say, okay, maybe you can say so percent before the budget is passed. But in this case, the appropriation being bill for supplementary budget, you must get the approval before you spend it. But the federal government didn't, maybe because of quote unquote the emergency need for the money. So maybe that was why they had to do that. So that anyway, there is nothing anybody can do now, because the deed has been done. A lot of people didn't really get it. They thought maybe they are looking, the federal government is looking for that money now. The money has been spent even before December.
Okay, what are the economic implications of this continuous borrowing? Noting that some of 800 billion naira oil subsidy relief has just been secured. What are the economic implications of all these debts on Nigerians?
Like I said earlier, what is of paramount importance is, if a nation goes a borrowing, what is the money, what are you using the money for? Is it for productive purpose? Is it to build your infrastructure? You know, if they are tangible, if you are spending on something tangible that can grow the economy, it's still okay. But if it is basically for consumption, for payment of salaries and all the rest, it won't take us anywhere. And when you keep on piling debt, the issue is it will get to a point like the incoming administration now will be inheriting 77 trillion naira in public debt. So if having that kind of money, and it is so tempting for government to use the ways and means method, maybe print more money, bring money, you know, is a short-term measure that government resort to. Very, very rare. You don't make it something that becomes the rule. Okay, if government is broke, let us go through the ways and means and raise money. You know, it's going to have a negative effect on the economy. And technically, we are seeing some of those things now. The level of inflation, the inflationary trend is on the high side, because most of the money that we are talking about now, we are not feeling the effect of the money, because like the bulk that went to the bulk electricity traders, all this something gas and all the rest of it, it's not having any impact on the people. I think yesterday I was reading a news report that one of the discos was saying that they were forced to shut down some areas because they were buying from the Gencos, but they couldn't get the money to pay back the energy they bought. The Yorubas will say, so I think it's getting to them, and if really we privatize the energy sector, this kind of government pumping public money into it again, and that has been on since even before 2015.
All right, thank you, Vale. Nigeria keep borrowing. Some of these funds were said to will be deployed to bring changes in the agricultural sector and as well as the health sectors, even for combating unemployment in the country. How will you describe the experience of Nigerians in this one? Are they feeling the desired changes in this area?
Honestly, majority of Nigerians, let me put it that way, when I said everybody, I may be wrong, but majority of Nigerians are disappointed in Buhari's government. You cannot be telling us that you are spending on agriculture and we are still having skyrocketed prices of food. So what is wrong? If you said you spend on agriculture, how much has that agricultural sector added to our GDP? So all this we need to look into. What I can understand about the way Nigerian government is being run so far is that we are only running the government on theoretical understanding. If you do it this way, this is the result we'll get. But when it comes to pragmatic approach, we always failed. That's just the issue. So we need someone that understands the language of economy to drive us. Someone that what I mean is this: when you are talking about agricultural sector, the only focus of the government then was yam production in like 2 or 3 states of the federation. That they even built pyramid. But when you go to local markets, you don't see these yams. How the government cannot come out and boast that Nigeria is feeding Ghana or South Africa or Benin Republic or any country in the Europe or America or elsewhere with our yam? Then who are we deceiving? We are deceiving ourselves, and at the end of the day, the result will also come back to us. Why are we doing this to ourselves? I'm not very happy as a Nigerian, honestly.
All right. Wale, this spending and supplementary budget, all these projects on the projects and whatever, do you think that the federal government needs to be more transparent, at least to carry the Nigerians along? Let us, for Nigerians to know how much is spent on the project, and Nigerians to see the end result of that money, will that one not enhance the integrity of the government and as well encourage followers?
I think basically the issue is that the way we run government business in this climate is totally different from the way it is done in other societies, because it is not just a case of you taking money and say, okay, we want to use this money to empower people, maybe in the agri sector, maybe empowerment to assist people to set up small businesses, and at the end of the day we cannot see people that we can use as people to validate those claims that we spend so amount of money empowering people. There's no doubt about it that the current administration may be far beyond those that have been before it, has taken bold steps to ensure that the citizenry gets empowered in numerous ways. Another issue is this: even if the man at the Buhari, who is the president, sign something and say we must do this, it's not the one to go and execute it. So down the ladder you will see that corruption there is there. It's there. And at the end of the day you see people cornering each sums of money. And the implement is, when you see all those things on paper, they are okay and perfect, but at the implementation stage you discover that those money don't really get to where, because a lot of people, like Buhari said the other time when they were talking about power, said the immediate past government said they spent $14 billion, not naira. The man was frustrated and was asking the question, where's the power?
And the impact. And
the impact is not there. So I didn't mean that 14 billion was actually spent that time under the Obasanjo regime to tackle the issue of power. What Buhari will be doing now, we wouldn't be committing so much money, because the privatization thing, the way I see it, is a scam. Because you can't practice the power sector and government is still pumping money into it like that. That's a scam. Because when those companies are making profits, who are they going? Are they going to share it with the federal government? So these are critical questions. So we need to, and when we talk about the reprivatization, we have the IBDC, this climb down to Kogi. If it is privatized, these are sole traders. Okay, I'm in Oshuna. Maybe I'm not so comfortable with IBDC. There's nowhere where I can go to. That's not privatization. We should have maybe three of, okay, like the telecom sector now. If I am not so okay with MTN, I can change to Glo. If Glo is not for me, I can change to
the alternative.
So we should, and that is the way it's been done in other Sena climbs.
Okay.
That you have so many power companies, because when you these people are monopolies. They are so traders.
All right, thank you.
The alternative for you is to use your generator if you don't like their service.
I accept that. All right, let's move to the next topic. Federal government releases 1,564 page compendium on Buhari's achievement. Isn't it good to feel proud of one's achievement? Agbola, the Minister of Information and Communication, who was there at the launching of that compendium in Abuja.
He is doing his job. Anyway, you see, when we are talking about achievements, no doubt about the fact that on paper, Buhari's government has been the best government so far when it comes to addressing the need of the Nigerians. But when it comes to implementation, you ask, who are these people deceiving? Let's look at this in the first place. Okay. This is the administration that campaign on a 3-point agenda: economic development, security for all, and the anti-corruption. Exactly. In fact, majority of the voters, including my own self, voted for Buhari based on his so-called antecedent on anti-corruption, remembering the Buhari regime of 1983, 84, 85. Now, the issue here is, let's analyze the three.
Okay.
We've been talking about the economy so far. I don't believe the administration has done creditably well on the economy. Well, on security, well, let's give the government like a kind of 45-46% of achievement in that area, because the main problem there then was Boko Haram in the northeast, especially in the 3 states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. But today, to be candid, the strength of Boko Haram has been reduced, but it has been replaced with the so-called banditry in the northwest, as if we just shifted something from one angle to another angle, and that's the experience, to the kidnapping and what have you. So the issue here is that economy, I cannot say failure, but around 39-40%. So security 45-46-47%. Now the last one is anti-corruption. Anti-corruption
that is by your own evaluation, because there's no yardstick for measurement. By your own assessment.
No, yes, let somebody come out and show me data to counter what I've said.
All right, go ahead.
Now the last one is anti-corruption. This is in this particular government, we've seen so many things. Some people, even we will have some people will be tried by the FCC, okay, and tomorrow they will say the person has escaped and he has gone to Benin Republic or gone to Niger Republic. Before you know it, we don't even have anything that like anti-corruption again, because the moment the issue of Ibrahim Lamode came to the fore, that's the end of anti-corruption, just as it happened in the IGP anti-kidnap squad of Abba Kyari. So what I'm trying to say here is that these three things are the most important thing to measure the achievement of Buhari's government. If you cannot boast that economically you've moved Nigeria forward, if you cannot tell us that security-wise Nigeria have gone far, if you cannot tell us anti-corruption, this is what we have done, then it could be linked into in the Yoruba Palace. They call something Upatoro Danaino. So when we said we have achieved one thing, then we rubbish it with like 9 or 10 other things. Look at what happened to small and medium businesses due to the Fire Brigade approach to cashless policy, tainted with political coloration before the last general elections. Honestly, I'm not saying the government didn't start well, but if they are telling us that this is their achievement, then they are talking to paper, not to the reality. Let's look at some other things too. These youth empowerment, true empower, how far have we gone? Okay. Have we improved in that aspect? Let's look at this social security issue under Sadiya Farouk Umar. Several billions of naira was used by the federal government through the office, the Ministry of Humanitarian, to cushion the effect of COVID-19. But let me put it to you, Adebari, as a Nigerian and as a journalist, can you tell us like 3 or 4 people in your neighborhood who are the poor or of the poorest that can claim to have benefited from this so-called social security, and that social security has changed their life for better? It's like we are deceiving ourselves when someone come out and tell us we've achieved this 120,000 thing in the last 8 years. That is a paper achievement, not the one that can be touched.
All right, thank you.
Or fate.
Well, what was the state of the nation's economy at the inception of the administration of President Buhari? What was the security situation like then, and the zeal for anti-corruption crusade? Now just oppose that to what is happening these days. Are we moving forward? Is the nation moving forward? Or what are the expectations of Nigerians? Your take?
Well, it is clear that the kind of humongous corruption that we witnessed under the immediate past administration was something that was of serious concern to many Nigerians, because in so many cases you see brazen stealing of public funds. And the major issue during the 2015 campaign by the APC, and one of the campaign points of Buhari was that he's going to end corruption. But it became a cliche then that if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. So it was sort of a mantra of the APC then.
Okay.
But down the line, we won't say that efforts were not made, particularly during the first time of the administration, to tackle corruption. But with at a point, a lot of people are saying corruption is already fighting back, because it has become more of an hydra-headed monster for us, that at every point you go, particularly in the public service, you will see elements of corruption, either in dealing with people in the public sector, either in contract financing, either in project execution. So I think basically the issue is, if the government is not putting in transparent processes, particularly in allocation of funds, they succeeded in doing the TSA.
Yes.
And so that one at least cut before we used to have so numerous accounts. NNPC,
the treasury single account.
So, but now have a single account. Anything you generate, you pay it into the account straight. So it's from that account that we do this work. To a large extent, I think that has ensured that the large-scale looting that was going on that time, pre-2015, was reduced. But that does not really mean that we've taken care of corruption. It is still within our system. It's everywhere you see it. So we can only talk about maybe a minimum reduction. Like people just say, okay, enter the CBN, collect money and just go. You know, that used to be in the past. And when you look at what has happened to the economy, I won't give the Buhari administration a pass mark in the management of the Nigerian economy, because even what we witnessed early this year, as per this issue of currency swapping,
yes, and cashless policy.
Cashless policy, the situation Nigerians were made to pass through that time was worse than when we were under COVID.
I think that was confirmed by the World Bank that
It was worse.
it affects the Nigerian's economy.
I don't know.
We don't need to wait for any World Bank to tell us that.
I'm not an economist.
The feelings of
We have examples around.
the feelings of
many businesses.
I'm not an economist.
the impact on Nigerians.
But I know for sure that what drives the Nigerian economy is the informal sector. And it's the same almost everywhere, even in the US. That's why the US will always talk about creating jobs. And who are the job creators? When Femi Adesina said it's not business of government to create jobs, people are attacking. That's the truth. Government must create an enabling environment for people to set up small businesses. People like my brother Latif can employ 10 people. Ijima Kandiya can employ 15. So we keep on growing the economy by giving people jobs. But yeah, it's not like that. Everybody is looking onto government. I must get employment in the state civil service. I must get employment in local government. And at the end of the day, because of political consideration, you see many debuts in government service who are just collecting salary. But when you go to other places, you see them almost running the public service like people in the private sector. Because if you don't have any business beyond that desk, they won't give you the job. So it's just like here when we have 4 people attached to one job. But there is the other way around. One person will be doing the job of maybe 2 or 3 persons. Because the government is not a Father Christmas as we see it here. Whatever we see government is doing now, what are the sources of money for government? Taxation. The key source of money for government is tax. Yes. So if people are not working, how will government collect tax?
Obligations to the government.
So that's the problem.
All right, thank you very much. And we move to the next topic. We must not give up on new Nigeria. Osbc he charged Nigerians to continue to love the country and not to feel despair on the new Nigeria. What kind of new Nigeria do people look ahead of?
Well, Adebare, let me do it this way. I would like to talk about the message and the messenger. You see, the message, whether we like it or not, we don't have another country that we can call ours than Nigeria.
Okay.
And let's assume that every Nigerian has decided today to leave Nigeria. Where are we going to? Okay. In fact, when there is problem in Sudan, Nigerians are returning. They are returning, and so on and so forth. That means our home will be our home. We need to ensure that we do whatever to ensure that Nigeria becomes better. I've always been an advocate of a new Nigeria and a better Nigeria, and I've been doing the little I could within my family circle to give my family that orientation that Nigeria is our country. You may be opportune to go elsewhere, but don't forget, you can never call there your home. This is your home. But let me go to the messenger. Osbc is the vice president for good 8 years under Muhammadu Buhari by May 29/8. Okay. But the question is, what has the government, this administration of Buhari or Osbc, done to encourage Nigeria, the masses of Nigeria, to see Nigeria as their project? That would be the question. It is not just a matter of wealth. It's a matter of leading by example. It's a matter of showing the way to love your country. There is a very particular picture of Mr. Vice President, whereby you see him holding a phone and maybe a palm top with a power bank. That picture speaks volume about the condition of power supply in Nigeria. For a vice president to always be going about with power bank to charge his phone, that is a wrong signal. There is no way you will enjoy. For example, as a Nigerian, if you travel out of the country, let me share my little experience. For the first time I would travel out of Nigeria, when I get to that country, my question was that I want my fellow people to get me an iron to press my clothes. It was given to me, but the question was, when I started pressing, how many clothes do you want to wear? I said because of the power failure. He said, yeah. So look at that Now, if you want us to love Nigeria, if you want us to believe in Nigeria, the Nigerian project, you need to lead by example. You need to show Nigerians that really this is how Nigeria is supposed to be. There's no doubt the fact that God created us unequally. We may be equal before Him, but not in status, not in position. But you need to do something that will give people that sense of belonging. Look at what is happening on the issue of Ekweremadu. Ekweremadu being a former deputy Senate president is a big man, no doubt about that. But as a lawmaker of that status, he knew what he was doing on the issue of the kidney was wrong. But he did it for the purpose known to him and those who are involved. But the question now is that Chief Obasanjo rose the UK about him, the National Assembly, the House of Reps and the Senate, because of him alone. Now, what happens to common Nigerian? We have a case of a lady in Benin Republic there. She was raped by Beniners, and the lady reported the case, but because the suspect is a brother to a high-rank police officer, they changed the case and the lady was jailed. How many Nigerians entourage or Nigerian delegation were sent to Benin Republic to save that lady? That's what we are talking about. You want to give us, we want us to believe in the Nigerian project. You need to give us that sense of belonging. That's my submission about that.
Thank you. Nigeria requires individuals to show more commitment and service in nation building. Are we working towards that, and what type of new Nigeria do we look for?
I think we should, our leaders should do away with platitudes, or trying to, say things just to
be politically correct,
in
the eyes of the world. This is a leader,
to make the people look
speak the
fine,
of the
happy. The issues are quite clear, and there's a difference between a leader trying to arouse people to action, and a leader who is just trying to be politically correct. With due respect, the call by the Vice President is more of trying to be politically correct, trying to look like the guy to be loved. And I could see that was coming after the post Emma said Nigeria missed a lot by not allowing the VP to be president. But having said that, the issue is more than just doing the talk. We need to do, walk the talk. Like Latif said, he was VP for 8 years. Before the second term, whatever, we saw the VP distributing market money and the rest. That's about the only significant thing that I could attach to the Vice President. So now that he has less than 3 weeks to leave office, maybe he feels that he needs to, get the people on his side. Dream big dreams. Let's country. Let's don't let us give up hope. And quite a number of people have been saying that the message will directly relate to his loss at the primaries of the APC. That he never thought he wouldn't get the ticket. So maybe he's still here to get over it.
But definitely, it is addition we have to continue to give support and love our country.
Yes.
While we expect our leaders also to live up to expectations. Viewers, thank you for joining us on the program today. This is the convenient point to wind up this program at this moment. Watch out for the next edition of the program tomorrow at the same time. Special thanks to my discussant, Latif Agbola.
Well, thank you, everybody. Before we go, please let me tell our people we need to see Nigeria as our project. We should be patriotic. This is our country. We should support the government. We should not be sabotage the effort of the government. Okay. It is very, very important. But as the leader and the followers, we need to be sincere to ourselves. Sincerity is very, very key in the Nigeria project. Thank you very much.
All right. Do you have anything to say, Wale?
Well, let's just let's keep our
all right.
Let's keep hope alive and look forward to the inauguration of the president-elect. And let's give him all the support we can give our citizens.
And love, as it has been we have just been charged to continue to love our nation and love our leaders.
And we shouldn't be expecting magic. The man is not going to be a magician. We are talking about a debt profile of 77 trillion. So some of these things, as things goes on, he has assured us that he's going
to need to pray for divine direction, God's leading, for us to live comfortably. Thank you very much.
Let's hope things will work out.
Viewers, do have a lovely day.